Hey, g'day guys. Yeah, I just did something really interesting here, which has had very different results to the first generation of this model. I did a few really hard stops, and I mean, the brakes have always been brilliant for me up until now. Basically what I noticed is that they really have to be quite hot. Now, the way I drive means my brakes are always kind of warm, but what I just had was an absolutely dead pedal feel. It felt like a car where the brake pads had been overheated, or that had expired, or were of a bad material. So, okay, I did a stop from 70 kilometers an hour, and it stops well, don't get me wrong. But I mean, the pedal just had no feel whatsoever. So I've never done this, guys. Like, I've hammered my brakes at high speed and stuff, and it's brilliant. But here today, the second stop was marginally better, but barely better. And then on the third stop, the ABS actually managed to come on. So what I'm saying is this: I just couldn't even get my ABS to come on until the brakes were reasonably hot. Now, I just don't get, okay, I didn't use the brakes much before I got here, but I've just slammed them on, and you know, I could literally nearly touch them. Like, they are that good at dissipating heat. They are brilliant brakes, but what I just had was very disconcerting. I will warn you guys right now, make sure you don't get yourself in a knot with the brakes not being up to scratch, as in warm sort of temperature. Now, the thing is, you've got to consider these factors. Okay, it's a warm day. It's not by any means a heat wave today. This is a very grippy surface, okay, but for me to not be able to get my ABS on, I mean, I didn't stab, I progressively put them on. And this was the worry. It was almost like the EBD wasn't working, because what I just felt was normally when you're driving, you feel the back brakes doing their job. Now, I'm not sure if you guys are aware, the back brakes here are nearly the size of the front. They're quite large. See, you can see it from here. I'd say, wow, those are really big rear rotors. But the front, I mean, they're large, but they're nothing out of the ordinary for, just say, an AMG would have ones like that. So normally what you feel here is, with very little effort, you feel the back doing its work. I just couldn't feel that right now. Now, bearing in mind, when you throw the steering, see, normally I would test brakes in a violent maneuver, and what that does, it gets all the electronics involved. What I just felt was a lack of brake assistance. I'm shocked. I'm really very, very surprised, and normally the car will decelerate without much effort. So it's almost as if it's not designed for what I just did with it. It's almost as if it was beyond its design capabilities. Now, what that was 3 stops from about 75 k's an hour in quick succession. But yeah, guys, like, talk about a dead pedal feel. So I'm not sure if you guys know, vacuum assistance is what gives your brake that sort of soft feeling. If you want to know what it's like without vacuum assistance, just pump your brake pedal a couple of times with the engine off, and you'll know what it is to actually be pushing the brake fluid through the lines on your own effort. It requires an immense amount of effort, and the car would never be able to even slow down anywhere near how much it does with vacuum assistance. Now, for you guys that are familiar, when I was in New Zealand in my previous videos in that wretched Corolla, basically if I pumped the brake pedal in the Corolla a couple of times, several times, I would begin to lose brake assistance, right? And the pedal would go rock hard. I mentioned that in one of the videos, and I find the Corolla to be a very dangerously bad design car. But here, for me to just experience that, so look, this is where I'm limiting you guys and myself. I really should be setting up a camera in the car to do it while I'm driving, to show you what I just had. So, okay, normally when I apply the brakes, this seat and the dog are the indicators. Now, I did hold the dog back on every stop, but normally in driving sort of briskly, I could, God forbid, break these dogs' legs on the dashboard if I wanted to. So normally I do not have this issue. What I'm saying is, this issue is strictly speaking of an inline stop, which which I have to admit I've never really done. So I've done straight line stops from 110 kilometers an hour, but I've never done them from 70 kilometers an hour on this surface in the dry. Absolutely not a good stopping performance I just had. Not at all. Only on the third stop did the ABS come on, and the electronic brake force distribution for you guys. Here we go, they're training up in the Subaru. Good learner's car, nice. See the father give me a look? See, it's a speed of being about the Subaru family. Look, the car's from 1998, look at it, it's still around. Now, what electronic brake force distribution does is it mimics you applying full brake pressure in an emergency. So it knows that you're applying 90% pressure. It will then continue to apply full braking pressure wherever required, however long you are depressing the brake pedal. And that's what EBD is. It's sort of when you feel the car suddenly pulling up a bit more than you wanted it to. This is more in an emergency type stop. But let me tell you something, guys. Had I been flying down there where I did the stops, had I been going quite fast, and had I expected this car to stop in an emergency, it was not a very good stopping performance. Now, I'll repeat, we're very spoilt with the brakes here. They are excellent brakes. These brakes are, I mean, yesterday I was going to make a video about how phenomenal they are. Phenomenally good brakes. But what I just had in a straight line, I kept watching the speedo and it wiped the speed off, but I know I couldn't feel the right amount of deceleration, and I couldn't feel the sort of bias this car has, not a bias to the rear, but over other vehicles I've had, that the rear brakes are doing so much of the pulling up. So when you stop, I've mentioned it's very linear. Now, in saying that, the braking performance around corners, I mean backing off the acceleration, these are the things you cannot do in a DSG. So you're booting it up around a corner in second and you want to thrust it into third but just jump on the brakes. You can go maneuvering an off-camber corner and the vehicle will maintain perfect control, and the body will stay almost perfectly flat unless you do something stupid. We've spoken in previous videos about the characteristics of a full drive car, sort of letting it go through the corner quite slowly and then powering out of it and making the time on the coming out of the corner and trying to keep the weight off the nose. And what happened today, it wasn't that the car was diving. I have to repeat one more time before I hang up on you guys. I couldn't get the ABS to come on in a progressive stop, which meant the car didn't need it, which meant I did not have full control over my braking system. I've said it again, these tyres are too freaking grippy. Guys, I'm telling you now. Now, normally you'd say that gives you better braking performance. What I'm saying is, yes, the tyres were so grippy on this surface that I couldn't even get the ABS to come on. Now, that might sound like a good thing. And again, if I'm throwing it, like if you go whack and throw the brakes on, all your electronics are going to come in. You're going to know what anti-lock brakes and all that EBD is about. But I should have been able to get the brakes on with a progressive stop. So only on the third stop, right at about 50 k's an hour, did the anti-lock braking begin to engage. So this is very, very weird. Like, it's only got 7,000 k's, and basically I need to warm my brakes up more than I did before, as the pads are sort of maybe, you know, getting harder as I hammer my brakes so hard. Now, bear in mind, guys, I've looked at my brakes yesterday and the pad material here is just, it's different to the other car. The pads here are longer wearing, like the chamfered edge on them is still apparent. So it's not like my brakes are wearing down drastically quickly like the other models. So the 2016, the pads, look, they last 35,000 k's driven hard, which is amazing. But yeah, the other pads seem to create more dust than these. I know you guys are saying how dusty these are, but guys, it's only because they're highlighter yellow calipers. You know what I mean? Hey, bro. I don't even know who he is. He's in a Lancer with a spoiler, so he wants to be part of the club. And he will be one day when he switches. So anyway, yeah. Hope that helps. I did not expect to make this video. I was going to make a video about how narrow the seats are, and I'll just make a mention of that now. The Recaros, if you're over 83 kilograms, or if you're, you know, over a size 33 waist. I would not recommend the Recaros. In saying that, I did mention this when I bought the car. I wouldn't recommend them for long haul trips as well, as they put a lot of pressure here. Now you can see it, and it's much harder to get in and out of this vehicle, but not as hard as my mate's AMG. So last night I got in at A45. What Mercedes have done, they've made those rock hard, but here it's not. They're very hard, but you can see a crease developing there. Okay, and you can see here where my butt's going over. Now I've put on weight, so I've put on about 7 kilograms, and obviously it's too much for these seats. So yeah, I might make a separate mention of that in future, but I would recommend against the Recaros. Just like I said in the beginning, they have a lack of support at the lower back area as well. Once you get a bit heavier and sink into the seat, I find myself pulling myself up into the seat a lot. In saying that, if you have this spec, you can tip them back and sort of try and get a bit more support by tipping the base of the seat up. But yeah, anyway, hope you guys are all well. That's that. Bit of a noisy day here, but it's a nice day. You can see the chemtrails over there again, and contrails and whatever they're doing. But yeah, they're doing something. There's been all these freaking lines in the sky. You can see that plane. Look at it. Look at that angle of takeoff, because it's very windy. It's fairly windy coming this way. You could just see the passengers in that are about to throw up. But yeah, by no means is it a really, really hot day at all here, and in relation to the grip of the road. So previously in other cars years ago, when it's a really, really hot day, you find that your tyres have so much grip that you can't get your ABS to come on unless you do a violent manoeuvre. That's certainly the case here. I think this has got to do with the Yokohamas. I've still not adjusted to how sticky these tyres are over the Dunlop Sport Max on the 2016 that are a lot harder feeling tyres. Those Sport Maxes were awesome because you can just dance the car around, okay? This car is a lot more grippy, and that's why I hit my wheels. It is so dead accurate, literally with the steering, that as Sapient Budgie said in Canada, that's moved over to Audi, but I think he's still got one for his wife, as he said, he found the steering on this too sharp. So it's not that it's too sharp, it's that it doesn't really, you know, it takes concentration because it is so accurate. Okay, we're used to cars not exactly going where, you know, considering all the movements and stuff. So anyway, that's that. And to just close the video, I was shocked when there was no smoke coming out, because though it doesn't sound like much, 3 consecutive stops from 70 or 80 k's an hour, one after the other, is quite a significant load on the vehicle, on the vehicle's brakes. And there was a little bit of a smell, but there was actually no sort of red hot smoke coming out. And look, I'll say it again, that's what I missed from the 2016, was the very, very nice feel of the brake pedal. This is a lot like the older model Subarus with the dead woody brake, but that 2016 has a brake pedal that's alive. Really a different vehicle regarding the braking system. The 2016 is more than capable, you know, more than capable with its brakes, and that's that. So anyway, be well. I'll try and start setting the camera up in the car somehow, so I could actually show you guys some of these things. Let me know how you go with it. Phoenix Rising, was it you that's hard on your brakes? I think you've got the same car. Let us know how you go. If you find that the deadline performance, the straight line performance is not adequate under certain conditions. You're gonna get that, guys. Brake pads as well have their days. They really, really do. Brake pads as well have their days in the way they feel. They can change the way they feel with ambient humidity and stuff like that and temperature. Anyway, be well, bye.